Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of Dark Side of the Word, a weekly podcast for all the dark story lovers. My name is Kait, and I'm here with my perfect co-host, CJ.
Hello, everybody.
It is the second Thursday of the month, which means it is time to talk about the content we've consumed in the past month. We've separated the good from the bad so that you don't have to.
Woo!
We've done the hard work for y'all. From books, movies, to television shows. It is our time to dish, to bitch, to celebrate what we've liked and did not like in the world. And we do try to stick a little bit more dark. Sometimes it doesn't always happen, so we talk about it all. But we are excited, right, CJ?
Yes, we are very excited.
It is a day over here. Anywho's, as usual, we are going to start off with CJ and her books. What did you read?
So I have been reading a lot. I feel like I've been making up for lost time this past month. I have watched a lot of TV series, I've watched a lot of movies, and I have read a lot more books. So I'm going to break it up over a few episodes because otherwise this episode would be like an hour long just for my recommendations. And also this gives me some content to share in future months when I don't have time to do as much. So I figure it works out well. So I have two books that I'm going to talk about today. And they are both kind of dark, but in very different ways. I couldn't remember what they were. So the first one is called Starve Acre. And Kait, I think this is actually the book that you referenced in our last podcast, which was the writing podcast about the one that inspired me to write Ghost Children. I think this is it. Though it's kind of an odd inspiration because halfway through I lost that inspiration from this book, but we'll get to that. Okay. So Starve Acre, I forget the author already, but it is a grief horror book, which I am all about right now because Ghost Children is going to be this subgenre of horror. And if you don't know what grief horror is, look to Pet Sematary as a classic example. The parents are so grief-ridden that their child is gone, that they're willing to do or believe anything to either make contact with his ghost or to bring him back to life. Some other more recent examples of grief horror books are Blanky by Keel Patrick Burke, which I loved, and The Winter People by Jennifer McMahon. Yes, did you find the author?
No, but can I have the title again?
Starve Acre.
Starve?
Starve, as in I'm starving.
I heard star. That's why I couldn't
Starve.
find it. Okay. By Andrew something. Oh, wait, you don't know the author's name. Is this what it looks like?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Creepy
It is by Andrew Michael Hurley. Oh, I have it as want to read.
You may want to change that. You are not going to like this book.
Oh, great.
You're not going to like this book.
Okay.
So another subgenre for Starve Acre would be folk horror, where folk tales and mythology play a part in the scary aspect of it. So in this book, a couple in England, it's an English book, they've lost their son to something, I forget what it was. And it's 6 months later after he's dead, and the mother is still convinced that the boy's spirit is in the house. While the dad, who's very scientific, is like, nope, that can't happen, absolutely not. Wife needs to get her ass in gear. I had such high hopes for this book because number one, the title is awesome. Starve Acre, like it just sounds like a creepy place. That's the manor where they live, basically. Two, it's been made into a movie in the UK, and if you watch the trailer, it looks freaking awesome and creepy as hell. And three, the book's gotten a lot of acclaim. And it did start off really, really good. It's good at setting the scene, about laying out the drama, making you want to know what happened and how we got to this point that this family is so broken that they're bringing in like these supernatural experts to try and make sense of what happened and try and get in touch with their son. And then at some point it just stalled and it wasn't creepy. And I was so disappointed because there was just nothing scary. For me, there was nothing scary at all in this book. The folk horror aspect is definitely there because there's a creepy tree. And there is like some folklore.
There's a creepy tree.
There's a creepy tree. I know, right? Then the cover looks so good. You know, there's a creepy tree, and then there's this folk story about a local spirit or something that might be at play there, and it's all very atmospheric. You know that you're on this isolated farm on the moors or the dales or whatever it is, and it's very creepy with that, but just nothing really happens. Some stuff does happen. One thing is very wild that happens, but it's not scary. It's more kind of like, why aren't we looking into that more? I won't say too much more because I don't want to give it away for anybody who wants to read this. And at the end of the book, it gets, like the very, very end of the book, like the last page, it gets kind of good. but it's also very weird, and you're left to wonder what will happen next, but then it just ends. And I feel like we were finally getting somewhere, and then just boom, it just stopped. I want to know what happens after that point.
Well, we need a book 2, maybe? Yeah.
I don't even want to read book 2 after book 1. It's just, it was so disappointing for me. And a lot of people love this book, though. So don't necessarily believe me. Kate, you should believe me, because you will not like this book. It's way too damn slow. But if you're on the fence, try it for yourselves. A lot of people love this and think it's great. It's been made into a movie. I probably will watch the movie, because I want to see if they've kind of livened it up a bit from the book, because there's not much that happens in the book. And the movie definitely looks a little bit more actiony. Not completely actiony, but a little bit more.
It's not highly rated on Goodreads, I will say.
I feel like a lot of like huge horror buffs love it. If you love really intensely niche things, I guess it's pretty popular with that. Like if you love folklore and you love grief, like I actually was talking on Instagram with somebody, and they said they loved the folklore aspect. They think it was really well done. And I'm like, we could have played it up a little bit more. It's short. It's pretty much a novella. You can get through it in a day or two. So you can give it a shot if you're curious, but you might want to just skip to the movie and watch the movie instead, because that's what I wish I had done. So that is my first book that we had. And the second book is a very different type of book. It is called James by Percival Everett.
Oh, I've seen this book everywhere.
It is I did too, which is why I wanted to read it. It is a retelling of Mark Twain's Adventures of Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn from the enslaved person Jim's point of view. Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be your type of book. Probably not, Kate. Probably not for you either. I've never read Mark Twain, anything by him. I just have no interest in it. I didn't even know there was a character named Jim in the original story. And from what I've read online, Everett retains a lot of the adventures that Jim, Huck, and Tom have along their river journey, while adding in a lot of new side stories and plot points directly relating to Jim and slavery and life in the South for enslaved Black people. And so, yes, it is a very difficult book, but it is a fantastic read. It's just a great example of writing. The first chapter alone is just so amazingly written, all through showing and no telling. You just see what Jim's life is like through the eyes of, his life and the characters around him, and it's just amazing. There's not even really words to describe it. You know how the last book club episode I talked about how hard it is for me to simply read a book and enjoy it and not analyze it, unless it's a really well-written book? That is James. I started reading this story and I fell into it, and there was nothing I could stop to critique or analyze or overthink, because it does not need anything.
What?
It does not need it. It is just so wonderfully written. Now, this author is a Pulitzer Prize finalist and the author of about 20 books, which is pretty fucking impressive. So there you go. The guy knows how to write, and it's definitely literary fiction / historical fiction, so it's not for everybody. Not for you, but it is a wonderful example of beautiful, riveting, and emotional writing and storytelling. Though it is, as I said, very dark and depressing, because it's about slavery. There's abuse, there's torture, there's hanging, there's rape, there's pretty much every bad thing you can think of, and then some. And it's heavy, but the way that it's told, you just want to keep reading it, because you just want to keep seeing what happens with Jim / James. So I highly recommend it, but not for people who don't like literary fiction.
Me?
Like you.
So, Mark Twain did Huckleberry Finn, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so my amount that I know about that is Disney.
Same. I don't even know Disney. I never even saw that part.
Because Magic Kingdom in Disney World has the island from Huckleberry Finn, and you get to ride on the river boats. And
I didn't know that.
I've done canoe racings on that fake river. That's about it.
Okay.
That's about what I know.
I looked, because I haven't read those books that he wrote, so I looked up to see what was kept from the original book and what Everett added to his version. And some of the things that I thought were very random were actually in the original that Mark Twain wrote. Encounters with these two guys who are battling it out, saying, they're con men. It's one's I'm the king of France. The other one's I'm the lost king of England. And I'm like, this is ridiculous.
No. I feel like I've heard little things, but I haven't actually read them.
Yeah, and I thought that was really odd, but that was in the original. So he kept it in. But then there's plenty of stories from, behind the scenes, Jim's point of view when he's not with Huck, that you see what happens to him. And that's obviously all made up, I'm assuming. So there's a lot of good from both. But it's just a really beautiful story, and it just makes you think. I feel like everybody should read this or something like it to remind us how, not that we ever forget how awful slavery is, but we're in danger of forgetting sometimes because people are assholes. And we need to be reminded of how awful being an asshole is. And this is a really good book to remind you of why we should never, ever do that to anybody ever again. I'm off my soapbox now.
I've seen this book everywhere, and I had no idea what it was. Because it is just like a black cover with this pretty James font on it. Yeah. I had no idea. So, and I will admit, I have been like, oh, this is popping up everywhere. Should I try it? I'm gonna be full of myself for a minute. I do feel that I am an exception to the rule of reading sad history stuff. Because I've just gotten to a point where it's like, I don't want to hear about this in the sense of like, I have learned. Yeah. I have grown. I know I don't want to read anymore and be reminded because it's just too fucking, like, I want to vomit when I think about, like, that's why I'm, like, completely done with World War II now.
Yep, same.
I did a ton of, like, when I was, like, older teenager reading about, like, the Civil War and slavery and all that stuff, Uncle Tom's Cabin. I went through this entire journey. So I'm good. I'm good.
Yep,
I will not forget. I'm good. Moving on.
I debated if I wanted to read this too because I knew it was going to be a heavier read. And again, I haven't read Twain, but I love retellings, and I love retellings that are from the point of view of a minor character or an overlooked character, whatever this one happens to be. So I was very intrigued by that aspect. And I don't even want to read the original Mark Twain book now because I like this version. I want this version to be the only version I know.
Oh, I was so glad because you were hitting some rough patches in your reading. Book club has been hitting some rough patches.
Yes, definitely.
So I'm glad that you found joy, and I don't understand how you didn't make a single comment about this book. Like, like nothing wrong, nothing.
No, I loved it.
Clearly, you need to read more literary fiction.
One thing I thought was very odd, though, when I was looking at the Goodreads description and therefore the jacket description, they call this book, quote, uproariously funny. It was not uproariously funny. There is some dark, wry humor there, usually when Jim/James is talking about his life situation, being a slave, having to, be at the deference to his white owners and everything. But I wouldn't say it's funny. There's some humorous moments. But uproariously funny is a huge stretch. And I think it misleads you about what the book is about.
Uproariously funny, I feel, implies joy.
Yes.
Happiness.
Yeah.
Not
a laugh a minute.
Not dark satirical humor.
Yeah. I'm very surprised they chose to describe it that way because it's not at all that. And I think a lot of people might go into the book thinking, oh, this is going to be a laugh a minute, and be very disappointed when they realize this is a book about a man who is enslaved and it's an awful way of life.
This is not a beach read.
This is not a beach read. Exactly. James is not a beach read. I don't know why. Yeah, I've seen Uproariously Funny on like Mary Kay Andrews books, This is not that.
This is like for those people that want to look smart and they read like James and David Copperhead or whatever.
Demon Copperhead
and all that. And they're like, look at me, I'm going to buy a hardback copy just so you can visually see me read this.
But it'll be okay because it's uproariously funny and I don't have to think too much about it. Yeah, that was a little odd. So just be warned about that.
Yes.
Yeah. But those are my books. What are your books for the month?
So, just to keep everyone abreast of this journey I have been on, I am now at 108 books for the year. If anyone's curious, my goal was 125. So we're back.
Oh, you're almost there.
Almost there. I am 36 books ahead of schedule. But now the new goal, I'm still leaving 125 on Goodreads, but my new goal personally is 200. So we're getting there.
Okay.
So I have 2 books and then an honorable quick mention just to keep everyone up to date. But I'm going to first talk, and at this point now I do feel that I am going to be beating this horse dead. But if no one has got it yet, the first book I'm going to mention is The Failures. Okay, when I wrote this, I didn't expect last week's episode, okay?
It's okay. We will hear it again. It is our podcast. We do what we like.
I know, and then I like already have the review out for it, but whatever. Anyway, it is a dark. Can't remember if they quoted as sci-fi or fantasy. I want to say it's definitely more fantasy, but it's a very dark fantasy. I received a copy. I have to say this. I received a copy for my honest review. Okay. Mm-hmm. It was a very hard book to get through. It is actually spurring our conversation for our industry topic next week, so don't forget to keep an eye out for that. But even though it was like very hard to get through and the world building was very hard, the payoff at the end was phenomenal. I loved it. I actually did end up liking the characters at the end. I definitely struggled. They were not likable, and not in the like Alex from Ninth House way. Where, you know, she's annoying, but we could still see the cinnamon center in her cinnamon roll heart. But they were just annoying. Like, I don't feel like this gives away, but like the very intro of one character is her burning butterflies.
Oh.
Yeah.
What a monster.
How am I supposed to like this person? Okay. Also, note to all writers out there who maybe are listening to this podcast, if you were going to create the kind of world building that Benjamin Lyre, by the way, it is a
interesting name.
It is a nom de plume.
I would hope so.
So, but if you are going to create a world like Benjamin Lyre, then please throw your readers a bone by calling normal things normal names. We don't need to rename them. Like I feel, renamed cigarettes and beer into his own name in the book, and I'm like, throw me a fucking bone. You're already making me juggle 5 zillion things in here.
Wait, what did he call cigarettes?
I want to say like slacks.
So that doesn't really give you an indication of what it could be. She
talks very much of like lighting them, and I feel like smoking them, so that's why I thought they were cigarettes. And then they changed the name. I would think of beer. Don't ask me what it was. Okay. Like something. You're asking me to remember names, but they changed the name of beer. So yeah.
To piss water?
No, it's like shock or...
And that doesn't even...
I don't know. From
context clues, I guess context clues will help you, but just looking at the name. Like, I read a book once that they were building a fantasy world about a sea kingdom, and they were trying to buy the salt. And it took me about 7/8 through the book to realize the salt was the ocean, because I'm just thick-headed. But it made sense because... I know, exactly. It's salt, water, ocean. It makes sense.
No, I'm laughing at them. Okay, I'm laughing at them.
Yeah.
But back to the failures. I got sucked in, and now I need to know what happens next. I also have a very big opinion about what this world actually is, which I'm going to tell CJ offline, because I actually want to tell you my opinion of this book. But there are a lot of things that happen here. So I don't recommend it unless you are a hardcore fantasy reader that can handle extensive world building and maybe have read Lord of the Rings.
Okay, that is not me at all.
No, that's why I'm not recommending it to you. But
you.
it takes a reader with a strong will. But the payoff is worth it if you're like me and you like say like M. Night Shyamalan or Witcher Season 1. You might like it, which I love Witcher Season 1. The next book I'm going to talk about, CJ has also heard a mouthful about this one, but is The Watchers by A.M. Shine. Holy shit, I loved this book so much. I have convinced CJ to add his other book to the book club list. So we are going to be reading Wait, we talked about this.
I forget everything. You forget names, I forget everything else, but I remember the names.
So we are reading his second book. Hopefully it's as good as this one. We are reading a second book later in book club, so don't worry. This is really exciting. But I have no words. So at the beginning, like failures, at the beginning I really hated this book. I'm like, this is not scary. I need more... What is it? Like, I need more stake. I need to care about the protagonist. And then you get to the part of the book where the big reveal happens. And you're just like, oh shit. Mother... And then the ending. The ending is like one of those endings where it's just kind of like ended like they do a really good job in horror movies where you're just like, oh fuck. And then it just ends and then your own imagination can just run with it and you're like, oh.
I love
it. It ends like that. I hear there is a book too, which is making me a little annoyed because I think that they should just end this book where it ended. I think it's perfect. Okay. But what is pulled off is superb. And once you realize what's happening, you're just like, holy shit. And the scare factor until the very, very end of the book did not exist. This was not a scary book for me at all. I'm sorry. If anyone's seen the trailer, this has just got released, or a month ago got released as a movie. So everyone understands the premise, but essentially this girl's car breaks down in the middle of the woods. Also, this is entirely based in Ireland. I'm just going to say this is an Irish author.
Oh, I think I remember you telling me about this one.
So she is on a road trip, her car breaks down, she gets out of the car, she starts trying to walk to find a phone or whatever, and all of a sudden this woman in the middle of woods is screaming at her to run, and the person runs and goes into this building where there's a two-way mirror, and there are monsters on the other side that they cannot see. But none of that is scary. It is not scary whatsoever.
It sounds scary, though.
It's not.
Okay.
Now, I will just give one spoiler. As always, we are a very pet-friendly podcast, okay? And there is a bird in this book.
It's a bird.
And the bird lives the whole book.
Oh, that's good. Yay!
So I think it's very important. I will always spoil animals in the books because we need to know if the dog dies. So if anyone doesn't know, doesthedogdie.com is the greatest place to sensitivity check movies.
Yes.
It's not just dogs anymore. It is all sorts of gore and like triggers. But yeah, so the bird lives, but the book is amazing. It is.
Okay.
Though I am slightly sad because I had a theory and it was wrong. So I'm just going to say. But yeah. I have a very big thing. If you would like my spoiler review, go watch the book review when it gets posted on the YouTube as well, because I have a shouting thing about, but it gives away the book. But if you want to know, this book made me do something that I swore I would never do again.
Really?
So, just gonna put that out there.
Okay. What is the title of this book again?
The Watchers.
The Watchers. Okay.
And now I'm really excited to see the movie.
That's the one that has the movie that's coming. That's why it sounded familiar too. Okay.
It has Dakota Fanning in it. Supposedly, it's I think directed by M. Night Shyamalan's daughter.
Oh.
So yeah.
That reminds me, there's a new M. Night Shyamalan movie coming out in October. It looks
so good.
It does. It does look really good. I'm a little afraid to see it because it looks a little slashery, but I'm probably gonna watch it anyway.
Also, he's just disappointed me in his last 3 movies. So.
And I haven't even seen them because you just told me not to bother. So.
Old is horrible.
Yeah, I can't.
And then there was the other one, but it's pretty much just like a 4 Horsemen retelling. It was really stupid.
Did he do The Visitors? No. The visit with the grandparents who aren't really the grandparents. Was that him as well?
I don't think so.
Let's see. Hold on. M. Night Shyamalan.
Okay, well, while she's looking that up, I'm just going to make my really quick honorable mention. But I read The Crown of Gilded Bones, which is book 3 of the Blood and Ash series. And I just want to tell you all, it is still fucking amazing. Like, amazing. And I am obsessed. But I just had to tell you all and update you all. Just on all of that.
Yay! Okay, there was the movie called The Visit by M. Night Shyamalan, directed by M. Night Shyamalan. It was from 2015. And I thought of it because it sounds very much like a similar, what's the phrase? Premise to the new one that's coming out, where they go to a place thinking one thing, and it turns out these people are a whole other thing. But I like The Visit. It was one of those thriller types, but it had some eerie moments.
Wait, I didn't see this.
I liked it. It was one of his better ones of the past few years, I have to say. 10 years now, I guess.
This is his. How did I not see this? How did I miss this?
It didn't receive a lot of press.
But still, I'm one of his biggest fans. How did I miss this?
You should watch it. I liked it. I liked it a lot.
I just miss his old stuff. He was so good.
Yeah.
I couldn't watch Servant. That just annoyed me. Oh, Knock at the Cabin. Don't watch Knock at the Cabin. It was so bad.
Really? I loved the book that it was based on.
Oh, then maybe you like it, but I was bored. But yeah. All right, well, it's got added. Oh, I didn't. Oh, never mind. Yep, it's got added.
Okay. Nice.
All right, well, that's all my books. Quick and easy.
All right, you want to move to TV shows?
Or movies, yeah.
Or movies. I have TV shows and movies to talk about.
Well, I only have movies, so.
Okay, so I will go quickly do my TV shows.
Okay, and then I'll do my movies, and then you can do your movies.
Okay, that sounds good.
Okay.
All right, so a moment of silence because we have finally finished, my husband and I, watching all 15 seasons of Supernatural.
You went through that pretty quickly, I feel.
It took us at least a year.
Really?
We started a while back, and then I think we got into season 1 or 2, and there was something that really, really upset me, and I had to stop watching. I have very specific triggers about things, and it was something that I couldn't stand. I had to stop watching, and I was so afraid to turn back on like the show and like accidentally find that scene again, and I didn't want to watch it for the longest time. And finally I told my husband to just fast forward through that part. I think we skipped the rest of that episode. Like, he looked up to see what happens in that episode, and it turns out it was like a Monster of the Week type episode, so we didn't really need to watch it. So we moved on, and from then I was hooked again. So we had a big, long break, and then we just plowed through, I think, for like the better part of a year.
Wow.
So
it just felt shorter.
I'm having withdrawal because, we used to have Friday nights where we would just binge episodes, like 5 or 6 at a time, especially in winter when it would get dark at 5 p.m. By 6 p.m., we'd have our jammies on, we'd have dinner in front of the TV, and we'd just stay there until midnight. It was glorious.
So I need to introduce you to, like, Bravo, and so you can start having Bravo nights. Like we do.
We found some other stuff because I've been trying to find new shows to watch, so we've had to like look around a bit. So
did you try Grimm like I told you?
I have not tried Grimm. Because I got distracted by House of Dragons.
Oh, wait, did you actually watch Game of Thrones?
I did. I watched Game of Thrones. I wasn't a huge Game of Thrones fan.
I never finished it.
If it weren't for my husband liking it, I probably wouldn't have kept watching it because I would get confused about what was happening. Like, what long-haired, bearded white man is doing this now? I can't remember all their names. But I started seeing all these ads for House of the Dragon on Max when I was watching my 90 Day Fiancé, and the marketing sucked me in, and I became obsessed. I was completely in love with the first 4 episodes, and I loved the drama that was there, and that it wasn't confusing like Game of Thrones because it seemed like there were not nearly as many characters to keep track of. And then episode 5 happened, and it all changed because the timeline zipped forward 10 years, and they changed actors to show the passage of time, and that the teens were now adults, and there were just so many more characters that were introduced into the story, and it all became so much more confusing. But I still really like it. I want to know what happens. The only part I don't love is that it gets very incestuous at some points. And like,
well, yeah.
But like we're watching it. It's like in a sexy love scene. And I'm like, this is not sexy. Like, why are we focusing on it as if this is a tender moment we've all been waiting for to happen? Like, ew. It's just gross. So aside from that, there's good drama. There's dark storylines. Good political intrigue. Great flowing locks of hair. And of course, the dragons, which are awesome. So I'm excited to keep watching. That's our new thing.
It's coming out. Season 2 is coming out now, so I don't know if you're going to catch up to it eventually. Like, okay. It's weekly, so you might catch up.
We're pretty near the end, I think, of season 1.
So Grimm.
Grimm.
The first season is very Monster of the Week.
Okay.
But then the second season really gets into the lore, and I'm partway through season 3, and the lore is like really ramping up now.
Okay.
I like it. It's not amazing. It's probably not as good as Supernatural, but it's still really enjoyable.
Yeah. Okay. I'll give it a try if I remember.
If you need a reality television recommendation, Southern Charm is. I'm obsessed right now.
Is it like a Housewives type show?
It's from the same, but it's not Housewives.
Okay.
It's just some people in Charleston, South Carolina, and the way these people think, you almost think it's fake, but it's not.
Interesting. What make me angry? I don't know.
No, I don't think so.
No.
Give it a try.
Okay.
For me.
Okay.
For me.
Okay. The other show that I've tried watching is Stranger Things season 4. Because I think Kait, you told me that it's pretty good. And the podcast I listened to, Scared to Death, the hosts on there, they were also behind in Stranger Things. So they were watching season 4. And everybody's been like, oh, it's more like a horror movie, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, all right, let me give it a shot.
Except for one plot line that I think was pointless and stupid and you don't need. It was really good.
Is it and this is going to be a spoiler, everyone. I'm just going to mention a few spoilers here.
I can tell you without a spoiler.
Okay.
But it has to do with the two brothers' mom and the way that season 3 ended.
and going on a trip.
Yes.
Yes, I cannot stand it. I am so
It's horrible. It never gets
annoyed.
better. It never gets better.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. I love the parts in the season about the Upside Down and Vecna, which is the monster they have to defeat this season.
I
They
told
are
you so much
creepy.
spookier.
It's
I
so
told
good.
you.
It's so good. I love anytime we were there. But then it goes to the frickin' Elle goes to the desert to relearn her powers plot line, which I am annoyed with and cannot stand. I don't give a shit. And I don't give a shit about the other storyline that you and I mentioned about the trip. And all I just want is the creepy stuff and the Upside Down. And the further I get into the episodes, the further away it gets. And I've just stopped watching now. I'm like episode 9, I've stopped watching.
Oh no, the last episode is so good.
Really?
Yes.
Ugh.
And it sets up season 5.
Is season 5 good?
It's not out yet. They're filming it.
Oh, it's not?
Now. They're filming it literally right now.
I didn't know that. I thought it was like 2 seasons behind.
No. 5 is done. 5 is it. They're ending everything.
Okay.
And I've seen some behind the scenes, and it's like really good.
Okay, maybe I'll try to keep going because I am very near the end, and I'm just getting super fucking annoyed with those other plot lines.
It gets better. The last episode's really good.
Okay, maybe I'll hang in there then.
Hang in there.
So those are my TV shows. Do you want to talk about your movies?
So I have a couple movies to talk about. The first one, I guess. Just to update, I'm on season 3 of Grimm, because we already said that, because I just want to update everyone. Grimm is done, by the way.
Okay.
So you'll get them all.
Okay, nice.
But the first movie I want to talk about is on Peacock, and it is Abigail.
Yes, I was going to talk about this one too.
All right, we can talk about this one together. We'll combine it.
Okay.
But Abigail I liked it a lot.
It was fucking awesome. I loved it. Oh my god.
So there are 2 things about it. First off, I was really worried how they were going to pull off the whole vampire little girl thing. Because, and we don't need to get into details of it, and that's like the premise of the movie. I was just really worried. I was like, okay, there's the little girl, you kidnapped a vampire. Like, how'd you pull it? Like, how? What? So that I thought was very well done. Mm-hmm. And the beginning was a little rough. Like, we got really emotional pretty quickly. Mm-hmm. We got, let's info dump about the characters really fast so you have some sort of, like, attachment. So when that was happening, I was like, God damn, this movie's gonna suck, isn't it? But then, the vampire portion.
And the slaughter happened.
But it wasn't a nasty slaughter movie. Like, I watched the whole thing and I went to my partner who can't do, like, gore very well.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think until the very end you could have watched this.
I found it extremely gory, but it's all very fake gory. Like, there's blood literally splattering the walls, but it just seems so ridiculous.
That part, I agree. I liked it, though. I liked the lore that was of vampires that was in the movie. Yeah. But I felt that, honestly, except for the blood spattering walls, which I still really appreciated, it didn't feel fake gory either. And it didn't feel like they were just doing gore for gore like they did in Renfield. Like, the gore was well thought out, in my opinion.
I thought a lot of it was ridiculous and over the top in like the comedy horror at its finest type of way, but I loved it. Like, it's not a movie you sit down to watch for a cinematic masterpiece. It's a movie you sit down to watch and just have a damn good time with your friends and eat popcorn. I remember laughing. I watched it with my scary movie crew. We were laughing hilariously like through the whole thing, and the part where she's dancing with the corpse, that was my favorite part. That was everything.
The only thing that beats it is the girl dancing, which I don't want to give away how she dances.
Yes, like, that was so good. Oh my god, that was so good too. Yes, I love that. That
kind of beat out the body dead body dancing part, because it was just like.
I just wasn't expecting them to go there with the body when she turned around, and I'm like, oh my god, they did it. It's so great because it's so macabre and grotesque, and the shock value that it gives like the people around them is just, it just lets them know what the hell they're in for, and it's just so good. Like, we already kind of know, but now they definitely know.
Like, one of the things that I always worry about in kind of very modern day vampire movies and stories in general is how are they fitting in these like supernatural creatures into our world? I mean, are they just on the street? We know they exist, or are we pulling like a whole Harry Potter? There's a whole separate world that they hide away from us. And I thought that they did a really good job in setting this up. Like, everything was extremely believable in that sense. Everything was well thought out. And I appreciated it. It was like there was actual thought behind this horror movie instead of just being like, we're going to put everyone in a locked house and die. Like, it had substance, and I appreciate it.
It did.
And I know you're like, this isn't a cinematic masterpiece, but if I may take a minute.
Yes, go ahead.
Put on my filmmaker hat. I actually thought the cinematography of this movie was extremely well done. I thought that the lighting on the set, the set design, the aesthetic was very well done. I was really drawn into the coloring. I was drawn into, like I said, the lighting. Like, the lighting was, I thought, perfectly played out.
Yeah.
And so I was loving it from a technical perspective as well.
That's good. I didn't notice any of those things. I just know I loved it, so I must agree with you on all those things. Because there was nothing I didn't love about this movie. So it was just a damn good time.
And even the way that the people were killed, I thought was really well done too. Like, the second gentleman that died and the way that it happened. Yeah. Just, again, it was just...
And I'm so happy.
Movie with thought.
I'm so happy the first guy died first, because what a fucking ass. He deserved it.
It's so sad. He's dead in real life.
Oh, God, really?
You know, at the end when they do, like, the dedication...
Oh, that was him?
I think he died of an overdose.
Oh, well, that's
and he was only 25.
That is very sad. Okay, well, I'm glad the character died, not the actor, because I did not know that part.
That's so sad. But yeah, and then, what's her name? But she was in Frankenstein.
Yeah, Catherine Newton.
What the hell? She's just flying
She's just
out
in
here.
everything, man. She's just in everything all of a sudden.
She's so good. Love
that was
her.
so creepy. So good. Loved it.
So, if you need a horror movie, we're getting close to October. Anyway, the spooky
I want to watch it again now. Oh my God. It was so good.
You own it, so we can.
Oh, that's true. I do.
If you don't own it, it's on Peacock.
That's true.
You had just waited like 2 more weeks.
I know. It was only available to buy on Amazon, and I didn't find that out until after I invited everybody over to watch it. So I'm just like, well, I guess I'm buying it. It was still cheaper than it cost to go to the actual movie theater. So I'm like, whatevs.
But you liked it.
I did. I love it. It was well worth it.
You might rewatch it multiple times.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good time.
The other movie I wanted to talk about was I'm Thinking of Ending Things. It is a little bit of an older movie. It's on Netflix. But I would like to paraphrase everyone that it is of the vein of Mother. And I don't mean in like the same kind of... It's a surreal movie where what you're seeing on the screen is an entirely... What's the word? there goes the
Real?
word. Yeah, it's not reality in a sense. Like, this is a movie that has a meaning behind it and a thing playing out, which I love Mother. It's very surreal. It has an amazing message. You have to really figure out what's going on to understand it all, because if you're just watching it at face value, it is fucking weird and strange. And I'm Thinking of Ending Things is pretty much the same vein. It is a very dark movie. But it essentially is about this girl that goes with her kind of newer recent boyfriend, and they go to meet his parents. And one of the downsides of the movie is a lot of time is spent in the car and on the driving, going there and coming back. And I don't think that was needed in the movie whatsoever. I don't think it helps you figure out what's going on. I think it was long monologues of nothingness that led to nothing burgers. So in that vein, it was boring and annoying, and I was ready to turn the movie off. However, so the idea behind the movie I think was very interesting. Once you figure out the point that they're trying to make, it's very interesting. I think the ending does get too heavy-handed, though, and goes kind of to the macabre and just like, really? But I still appreciate seeing it. It is dark, it is twisted. If you want a thought movie that isn't just Abigail sitting and really just getting to enjoy cinema, but you want something that's more of like James, where you want to think and you want to see and you want to see some acting. You know, it doesn't hurt to give it a watch. I just think that it's a really good premise that could have been executed better.
Was that a book originally?
I think so.
Because I thought I remember seeing it as a book and then a movie.
Maybe.
But maybe I'm just remembering the movie title. I'm not sure.
And the last thing I want to mention is more of a warning to all our horror lovers out there, is we did try to watch Cabinet of Curiosities on Netflix, which is the Guillermo, what's his name?
Oh, I tried watching that too last year.
So we made it through 2 episodes. Every episode is a different short story. They are not all his short stories either. They are done by like newer script writers.
That's right.
But they were not good at all. And for some reason, at least in the 2 that we saw, and I did look up the other ones just to, like, give me an idea. But it felt like they were all bad people having bad shit happen to them. And I'm like, why do I care? Like, honestly, I have no stake in this. I don't care. They're assholes. So why am I going to care if they're going to die? And then it was all this buildup of, like, not enough backstory to create anything. It's just, it felt like we're going to rush to the gore. Like, you just want to watch terror. Mm-hmm. This is just to watch people getting essentially tortured and scared and trying to run for their lives. And it just, it's not the kind of horror that I'm here for. I'm here for, like, horror that has, like, Abigail, though, it has meaning behind it. It has some depth. Yeah. It has some lore. It has substance to it that Cabinet of Curiosities did not. And it really... Also, if you are not a Lovecraft fan, 2 of the episodes are inspired by Lovecraft. I hate Lovecraft. Sorry, I do. It's not my kind of thing.
I don't think I like Lovecraft either, because I did not like... I found the same thing as you. I stopped watching because they were just getting too gory for just being gory's sake, and I don't enjoy that. I think I liked one of them that was about the Holocaust artifact, and there was like a sister who was missing or something.
Didn't make it to that one.
Okay, maybe that was a different...
Oh, no, that was the first one.
The first one. I liked that one. The storage unit. I liked that one. That was pretty creepy for me. And then after that, it just got way too gory, and I stopped watching it. One episode where somebody was about to get something cut off, a head, a hand, I don't remember what. But I'm like, you know what? I'm done. I don't need to watch this anymore, and I haven't looked back.
So I just want to give a warning. It's not worth the time. Don't do it.
Okay.
So, and that's all I have.
All right, I have one more movie to tell you about, and that is Twisters, which is kind of the remake of the original Twister movie that had Helen Hunt and Bill Paxton in it. And guys, this is my favorite movie of the year thus far because it was fantastic.
I want to see it so bad.
You should see it. I want to go see it again in the theater and again and again. I could have gone and sat in there right after it was over and watched the whole thing over again. That is how much I love this movie.
It doesn't hurt. You can just watch Glenn Powell over and over. He's not bad to look at.
Is that the guy in it? Yeah. Oh, I did not know who that was. He was very attractive. Very attractive.
If you, oh crap, it's on Netflix. Anyone But You, I think is what it's called.
Okay.
It's cute. I definitely recommend it. He's in it. It's like a rom-com. It's really cute.
So if you're wondering about Twisters, it does have similar vibes to the original movie, but it's not a remake of the original. It has its own plot line, own different characters. You can totally see this movie without having seen the original Twister. There are a few call-outs, which I appreciated, and there are definitely some I think that only, like, especially nerdy people like me would actually see, and maybe you, because I've seen Twister a bajillion times.
I love... I had a whole I want to be a meteorologist moment in my life, okay? Like,
when you see it, we will have to discuss the call-outs because there's some very specific things that I need to talk about with somebody. But overall, it's a really great standalone movie. So if you love natural disaster movies like I do, you should absolutely go see this. It is a good time. There's drama, there's romance, there's fun, there's quirky characters, there's a role reversal going on that if you watch the first movie, you're like, oh, this is kind of fun, and surprising things happening, and it's a good time. It's a good time. Yay! Twisters.
Yeah, no. We also just rewatched it because my partner, I think, has maybe seen it once or not at all. I know. So we rewatched it like last weekend because I was like, I want to go see Twisters, and I think we're going to try to see it this weekend.
Yes.
And I was like, let's rewatch it because I want to just catch back up to it. That thing is aged perfectly.
Really? I haven't watched it in a while.
Like, except for the very dated technology they use. It, like, the cinematography, the special effects, everything, like, it is perfect. And for me, Twisters is, okay, there are movies that made me the woman I am today.
Yes.
There are female characters I have seen on the screen that turned me into the scientist and this, just the tomboy, whatever you want to call girl. And Twisters, Helen Hunt's character, on 100% one of them, same as Contact.
Oh,
that movie has really made me. That was a great movie. And they're the same type of female characters. You know what I mean? These are the movies that have made me. Alien as well. Do you see a trend of the female characters?
I do.
Do you
strong, kick-ass females.
Yeah. Anyway, so yes, I am so excited. I'm glad you brought it up. I just, something about, and this is why we hate tornadoes.
I know.
People wonder. They wonder why we won't. Why
I don't know how people can live in places where that is a regular thing, because I am so terrified of the prospect of a tornado. I cannot imagine living in an area where that could actually happen to me on a regular basis. God bless them. I could not do it.
And this is why. This is why. They wonder where the origin story is. This is the moment.
Yeah. And you will be happy. You mentioned Alien. You will be happy to know that one of the trailers before Twisters is for Alien Romulus.
It does not look good to me.
I'm going to see it. I'm excited.
I know, but you like that monster stuff. To me, it loses the essence of the, like, actual, you know, like, what Alien was. But it was so nostalgic, too, rewatching Twister. Like, I was like, oh my god, I'm a kid again. Like, oh my god, this is when movies were good. This is, like, my dream, like, theme of 90s movies.
I feel like this will bring back that feeling. Like, it's a well-rounded script. It's a longer movie than I thought. I was in that theater for way longer than I thought. It takes a while to tell the story. They don't rush it. And what I also loved is, like, in the first one, you had those sweeping cinematic views of the rural countryside. You have that in this again, and it's just so beautiful.
Oh, I'm making this happen. I don't care if my partner is broken from rugby his tournament this weekend.
All he has to do is sit there.
He is going to hobble into that fucking theater, and we are watching it this Sunday.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you have to tell me because we have to talk about it.
Yes. All right, friends. Well, I hope that we helped guide you for the next 30 days on what to watch and read, and that you can keep your content up. If you have any great suggestions, please leave a comment. Let us know what you're watching so we have more things that we can watch as well, because there's clearly not enough in the world to entertain our time. But don't forget, this month's book club pick is a two-parter. Since we have 5 Thursdays, we are going to be doing the Sworn Soldier series by T. Kingfisher. So part 1 will be What Moves the Dead, and part 2 will be What Feasts at Night. We will be splitting them between 2 Thursdays. Each book, one book per episode. They're quick little novellas, so you should be able to get through them. Both of them are even less than, I think, a full book. So don't worry. Join in. If you don't have your copies yet, use the bookshop.org links below to help us out at no extra cost to you. But thank you so much for listening to Dark Side of the Word, a weekly podcast for all the dark story lovers. If you are watching on YouTube, please subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. And we are on audio only podcast on Spotify, iHeart, and iTunes. Make sure to check out the Spotify polls and leave us a comment about how wickedly awesome we are. Thank you so much, friends. Bye.